Pretty simple. Started the game with great defensive energy and awareness, and that sets the tone. And that when you do that, you get stops. Now you get out and you run, and shots are more likely to go in. You're likely to get easier shots, and then there's a snowball effect.
How are you guys doing? How are you doing so far?
Kevin's doing well. I just saw him in the training room, and he's coming along nicely. And obviously, it's been an adjustment to play without him, but we've kind of made it through a difficult stretch of the schedule, and it seems like we're getting back into form.
Would you and Clark be the guy taking the biggest step with Durant out and the guy you needed to?
It's been great. He went through a long stretch where he really didn't play much, but he stays ready all the time. He's such a pro. We've obviously kind of gotten him back into the rotation. We need his shooting, and so we've really changed up a lot of the rotations, as you've noticed. And he's an important player for us, even if he's not going to play big minutes. He's given us spacing and rhythm and production. He's been great.
Do you think of him as the point guard at the start of the second quarter?
Not really. No. I think of it as a group effort. And usually I'll have him out there with Andre. I didn't early in the game when I put him in because Steph's injured. I put him in. We had he and Clay and Patrick together. And that's sort of point guard by committee. And Draymond can handle the ball too, but it's one of the strengths of our teams to be able to share the playmaking. Ian's a combo guard. He's not really a point or a two. He's just a guard, and he does a nice job in a lot of areas.
You started Steph in the second quarter, or were you going to look at playing Steph a little earlier in the second?
That was mainly because he got hurt early and missed a few minutes. And then Clay was on fire, so we decided to leave Clay out there a little bit longer. Everything that happened last night with the rotations was altered by Steph's injury and the domino effect that it created. And then the second half was more by design, more of a pattern that we like to see. But we always have to be ready to adapt.
Did Steph had any?
Steve, in your mind, what's been the key to Iguodala being this fresh this late in the season?
I don't know exactly. I know he's taking great care of himself. He's really been adamant about getting his work in the weight room, in the training room, with our various caretakers, acupuncturists, massage therapists. Andre's really good about taking care of his body. And I think he's aware that, this is the stretch run, and we need him, especially without KD. I think Andre always has a keen awareness of what's necessary from game to game, and without KD, he's taken on more of an aggressive playmaking role.
Steve, is being mentioned for a possible build on the new Cal staff, or even as their new coach. What do you remember of him when he was working with you out here?
Theo's a rock star. He really is. He's such a great, smart guy, and someone who everybody on our staff and our roster enjoyed being around. And I don't know what the level of interest in him is from the Cal perspective, but he's going to be a great coach, whether it's now or down the road. He's got a lot of talent.
When before he left to go with Luke, do you think he would have wound up being a front bench guy for you at some point too?
Yeah, we wanted him back. We offered him a spot back, but he had a great opportunity to go with Luke, and he made that decision, which I respect. I think he really valued new experience, new city. He's basically grown up in the Bay Area, spent his whole life here, so I think it was good for him to experience something new with Luke, and we'll see where his career takes him, but he's going to do good things.
What did you see in him when you hired him initially?
Well, I hired him for a number of reasons. He's really smart. He's easy to get along with. He's also a guy who could get out on the floor and play 3-on-3. He just finished his Cal career, so he's still a big, strong athlete who could hold his own against guys playing 3-on-3 games after practice, which a lot of our guys need. You know, guys who don't play a whole lot, that's one of the ways they stay in rhythm is by playing 1-on-1 or 3-on-3. So I always like to hire guys who can do that. And so Theo can still play and coach.
Zaza had just do other stuff. He had some finishes last night, maybe not quite huge hard shoots, but finishes. Are you encouraging him to try to finish more? Sometimes he just passes out of it, or is it just do whatever he feels comfortable?
He knows how to play. Zaza has such a good feel for the game. We let him go, and you know, some games go his way, some games don't, just like everybody else. But he's always in the right place and making the right plays.
How's Patrick grown as a
Well, the NBA game is so different from the college game, and I think he's really gained experience and learned tendencies, opponents, scouting reports, and you can't help but get better when you get playing time like he has. And, it's been a great season for him, you know, as a second-round pick to come in to our team, play as much as he has, and gain this kind of experience. It's great for his development.
But talk about him when a really heady guy. Has that held true throughout the season? Has he been a quick study in the defensive, schemes that you're trying to
on
implement?
both ends. Last night he made some brilliant passes offensively. He's a good cutter. He understands patterns. He understands the value of a good screen or a good weak side cut. He sees the game. He sees the pictures out there. He's gonna be a good player for us for a long time.
How difficult is it to transition from part of a team that presses 40 minutes a game to more of a pro style defense?
It's a transition for anybody to go from college to the NBA. It's such a different game. He's figuring it out quickly.
You see any leadership qualities in Patrick coming out?
Patrick is very quiet. He doesn't say much, and which is smart as a rookie. He shouldn't say much. Sit back and learn and observe. But he takes advice really well from our veteran players, and a lot of guys just lead by example. And he's probably going to be one of those guys as time goes on, just with his work ethic and his understanding of the game.
What are you hoping Kevon gets out of
He just needs to play. Kevon needs to play. He's fallen out of the rotation, obviously. So he needs to go down there and get a lot of minutes, and that'll be good for him.
So you're going to be one short?
But, if anything happens, we'll bring him right back up. So,
Would you think Damian up or?
No, he needs to play too. I mean, you never play 13 guys unless there's a blowout. So right now we got enough bodies. We're more worried about their development than getting them a few minutes in the book.
Steve, you guys last night, some of the boys around you quiet for a day. What have you made of some of the reactions? They dropped a few games and the balls are coming in.
It's entirely predictable. This is how our world works. This is how things, especially for us, for our team. I've seen it a million times. I think what I said last week is true. It's actually a miracle that we haven't been through a stretch like this until now over the last three seasons. And maybe it's because we haven't been through this. People are wondering what's going on. It's the reality of being in the NBA. That things catch up to you, injuries, scheduling. People can panic, and we can just keep working, and we'll just go about our business.
How does it compare what you guys have accomplished today? Every so often you probably drop a couple games. Comparable at all? I mean, did folks just assume you would find your way with those teams where maybe they know this group?
I'm not sure I remember that well. It was a different era. There wasn't really as much media. I do remember the year 3 in Chicago, '98. We went from 72 wins, 69 wins, I want to say 61. What a horrible collapse. And there were times I remember, I think early in the season, Scottie Pippen was injured. don't think we got off to a great start. It's all a little bit hazy, but I mean, there's always overreaction from fans and media. That's all part of it. When you're in it, you can see it really clearly, and so you can't pay attention to what anybody else thinks. You recognize what's going on with your team. You give them a rest if you need to. Don't worry about what anybody's going to say. And you kind of realize, you can see on the schedule when you're going to make it through the storm. And then you hope you can get healthy, and you do what you can. And then, whatever happens, happens.
I know this is down the road a bit, but you said you see the schedule. That back-to-back you have, Houston, San Antonio, and folks are already starting to wonder how you might see that from a potential rest.
I'm going to rest all 13 guys out there. So we're just going to forfeit.
That's weekend.
Yeah, feel free. I mean, we'll see where we are, but you guys know from the last 2.5 years. I think that was the second time in 2.5 seasons that we've had a mass resting game. The other one was Denver 2 seasons ago. It's not something we do a ton of. We'll give individual guys a night off occasionally. Andre and Sean have been prominent ones over the last couple of seasons, mainly because of age and wear and tear. That was a pretty unique schedule. And as I said to you guys last week, I think the league will do its best. Knowing Adam, they will do their best next year when the schedule comes out to really examine journey we were on, and I'm sure a handful of teams will go through something similar, but nobody did the double cross country over 2 weeks. I know that, and I think we're not facing that. I mean, a back-to-back Houston and San Antonio. It's not Minnesota, San Antonio. It's not the end of a 13-day journey. So I anticipate we'll be playing everybody, but who knows?
Does the league, did you hear from the league at all about that?
I'm in constant contact with people in the league. We all work together. We really do. Nobody called me to complain and said, "How could you do that?" There's nothing like that. It's Adam is all ears. There's an awareness on the league's part that we've got to do everything possible, not only with the length of the season, which they're working on next year, extending it by a week or 10 days, but sort of examining the checkerboard nature of the schedule. Especially if you have key games that you're trying to promote, maybe take a look. Maybe try to make sure both teams are rested and not at the end of some long odyssey. And I think all that is possible. You can't solve every problem, but I think you can pay attention to it and do the best you can, and I think that'll happen next year.
After the Denver one, I remember you answered it. I'm a fan and traveled. Did you get any kind of response like that?
I got a few emails, yeah.
Did you answer?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's just kind of the right thing to do, but as I said, I'm always aware that people pay good money to come to these games, and they get disappointed when certain guys don't play. I don't like that. I don't like thinking about people who go through that, spend good money on the tickets, and only to be disappointed. I don't want that to happen. And that's my only job is to have our players prepared and ready down the stretch, and that's why I do my best. All right, thank you.